All right, welcome back, everybody. Pat, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. A little rough weather last night.
Yeah, it was rough, but you know what? I think that this weather is finally clearing up my allergies, so I won't be hacking up a lung on the
It's a
pod
win.
anymore. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, it was some good storms last night, man. They rolled through pretty hard.
So we just had a ton of rain, but we didn't have a whole lot of everything else. Not like you.
Oh, yeah, it was brutal out here for a while. But a lot of rain. I think I saw on the news this morning, like some places up in northern Minnesota had like 5 to 7 inches of rain last night.
Yeah, man, they're talking like 10 inches for the week that we're gonna get.
Oh
Like,
my God.
severe flooding and stuff. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy this week.
Let's hope that just calms down.
Yeah, they're starting to cancel around my parts. They're starting to cancel a lot of like city festivals
I saw that.
because they literally can't put the rides down because the ground is so saturated.
That's what I heard. I heard that it's like you're finding no level ground right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like so my girls are in T-ball. We went to a field yesterday, and it hadn't rained yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like it rained the day before, but every time you walked, it like you pushed the water out of the ground. It was
Yeah, it's
crazy.
a
Yeah, it was
sponge.
crazy. Yeah, it was just a sponge.
Well, we were going down to Rochester here for a state tournament for softball, and I bet you that is going to be miserable.
Yeah, for sure.
Ugh. Well, we got a good one today. You're pretty stoked about this one, right?
Yeah, I think we both are,
Yes.
just because of all the information.
It's amazing how this has happened. Today we're going to be talking about Hunter Biden,
Yeah,
all the crap he's been a part of and going through, and honestly, like,
this is just the last one. Like
Yeah.
he still has one this week, right?
yeah,
Does it start this week?
this is the tip of the iceberg for all this crap.
Yeah, I don't know if I think it starts this week. His tax one out in California,
Yep. And that's
which I have nothing on that one.
bro,
right
that's
now.
got some heavy implications in
Well,
terms of FARA.
That's right. Like that's the rest of the laptop. Like the infamous laptop that's fake
Right.
was admitted into FBI evidence.
Right.
So it's not fake.
It's not.
Yeah,
Well,
not anymore.
we
It's
all
not
knew.
fake anymore. Well, of course we knew.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Everybody who had the ability to actually go and look and read and see
Yeah.
the evidence.
Yeah, but
they
that-
knew.
Well, not only the ability, but the time, right? Because like you have
Yeah.
to put in significant time to find some of this stuff when they start blocking it.
Yeah.
Like remember, this was suppressed from Twitter.
Oh,
It was suppressed from
everywhere.
everywhere, all
Mm-hmm.
social media. So you couldn't really find it.
No, see, I don't know. I agree and I disagree because I found it. I found it right away.
Yeah, but we
But
have
it's
time.
also, but the difference is, it didn't take me long at all. But the difference is, the sources I went to were being called,
right.
fake and
Correct.
false and
Yeah.
propagandist. And,
Well, it's the same game plan, right? The
right.
same
So
play.
I mean, Rudy Giuliani had this thing early on, and I guess we should probably give a little background to the laptop. Everybody should know by now, but just in case people haven't, they've been living under a fucking rock.
yeah,
So Hunter Biden had a laptop, right?
Yep.
Something broke on the laptop.
probably had a virus.
Brought the laptop into a mom and pop shop to have it fixed.
Yeah, it was like a small owner
Yep.
owner run
Single thing, single person, single owner shop,
yeah,
right?
yep,
Small.
Yep.
Dropped it off. He filled out the receipt for it, and he left. Probably
He was probably high.
high because he forgot that he had the laptop there. The person who was working on the laptop made a copy of the hard drive because he didn't want to break
Yeah,
the
it was
laptop.
pretty common.
Yep, he didn't want to break the laptop.
Right.
And so he made a copy of the hard drive, set it aside, and then as he started getting into the laptop, then figuring stuff out, there was a lot of things on there that he was like, "Oh shit, I don't know if I should have this."
Yeah, there's a lot of illegal stuff.
A lot of illegal stuff, and he notified the FBI.
the FBI.
So they turn the laptop over. The FBI takes the laptop, and they're immediately running cover.
Yep.
Right? I mean, we didn't hear a whole lot about it, but that individual, I think he thought better, but he got a hold of people who then put Rudy Giuliani in touch with him, and Rudy Giuliani somehow got the hard drive, a copy of the hard drive.
Correct. So he still has. So now it's another copy.
Now, I can remember it was asked about in the House a long time ago, right when this laptop thing started coming down. I remember Jim Jordan asking if, I don't think it was Ray or Comey or somebody, do you have the laptop? And they didn't. They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, okay, well, maybe it's Matt Gaetz. He's like, I have a copy of the hard drive right here. I'll get it to you so you can see what's on it because I reviewed it and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as the FBI realized that Rudy Giuliani, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, all those guys had the copy of the hard drive, I think they were like, well, shit, now we can't hide it, we can't dump it, we can't do anything with it.
Right.
So they just sat on it.
Yeah.
Right, for however long.
A long time.
And that was right before the election. And then it got censored.
Yeah,
right?
because the laptop came out, that was that October surprise, right? Like everybody talks about the October surprise.
Yep.
And they immediately called it Russian disinformation.
Everybody.
Yep.
It's
We
fake.
have the 51 former intelligence officials that basically, we talked about last time, Anthony Blinken was an advisor for the campaign, and he emailed these guys and said, hey, we want to get this out. Can you guys sign this? And he got a hold of everybody, and they all made edits. Like Brennan made an edit to make it sound more official. I have it here. He said that he offered a key phrase to include writing, quote, I have one additional editorial suggestion for the letter. I think it would strengthen the verbiage if you say this has all the classic earmarks of Soviet/Russian information operation rather than a feel of Russian operation. And Morell, who was Blinken had kind of get all the signatures. He was a former acting CIA director. Replied to Clapper. Oh, sorry, that was Clapper, not Brennan. Suggestion was accepted, and it was a good one.
So you have Clapper was NSA, Brennan was CIA. You had them basically edit this letter that came from Blinken, who was part of the campaign, and they took the letter, they got it to all the intel people who were on board, and had them sign it, saying, yes, this has all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. Now,
Right.
the thing that gets me, you can't fart in Washington without everybody finding out about it and it going around.
Right.
Everybody knows everything.
Yeah.
We've seen it how many hundreds of times. Everyone knew the second that hard drive, the second that laptop made it into FBI custody. Everybody knew.
Correct.
So they knew it was real.
Yeah. They still suppressed it. We have testimony from the House committee that even an official at the FBI was on a call with Twitter, and somebody from Twitter asked, like, hey, is this real or not?
And the
they
FBI said, yeah,
it was real.
It's real.
And then a second person on the call that nobody knew was on the call was
We have no
get
comment.
on and said no more comments. So they still suppressed it after the FBI admitted that it was real.
And you can remember, I remember watching Zuckerberg on Rogan talking about how, well, when the FBI calls us and tells us that if you get stories about this, that, it could be fake. And so Zuckerberg, that douche, he decided to censor it on his own. And basically what they did and I think what a lot of like people who don't understand what they did is they lowered the amount of transmission that it can have. So people could still find it if you went out and looked for it, but it wouldn't populate
It didn't go to your
automatically.
feeds.
Didn't go to your feeds.
It was hidden.
So, if you think about it, a huge portion of the left that is diehard left that'll never vote right are older, like, our parents are.
Yep.
And they're not good with technology. And they're just taking their belief system one soundbite at a time. So that story that, what was it? I think 54% said that if they would have known, they could have changed their
It was. Yeah, I wish we had that. It was a high amount.
It was a big
that
number.
said if they had known that it was true, they would have switched their vote.
Correct. So that's exactly why they censored this thing.
Of course
right?
it was.
It's not patriotic, at least for like my mom and her generation, it's not patriotic to question your government. They were always taught, you just do what your government tells you. And now I just think people are waking up a little bit because this is crazy. This is you had the media running cover for it.
We have clips of that.
It's just unbelievable the amount of trouble they went to censor this laptop story so that Trump would be affected by that. And of course, now Trump's being charged for campaign interference and things like that, election interference. And where the hell is this coming from? Why don't these people get charged?
Amazing. Yeah, because we've got a letter from that Jim Jordan sent Secretary Blinken, who got a secretary position out of this whole deal, right? Yep. it said prior to he was interviewing, or they were doing testimony for Morrell, who was he was a deputy director of the CIA, but I believe he was acting director at one point. It said, but prior to Secretary Blinken's call, you did not have any intention to write this statement. He said, I did not. So, okay, so his call triggered. So it did, yes. And that intent in you. And it said,
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. So, I mean,
he said, yes, absolutely. And then he said that that they got a call after the debate, and the Steve Ricchetti from the campaign, chairman of the Biden campaign, called to thank him for sending out the letter.
that is just disgusting.
Because remember, they used that.
Yeah.
He used that in the debate. He said, well, listen, 51 intelligence
Right.
officials said this was
Right.
Russian disinformation. It's all fake. All of it's fake.
All of it's fake. And I mean, if you think about this, right, this goes all the way back to Trump's phone call with Zelensky when Zelensky was elected and asking Zelensky to take a look at the dirty stuff going on in Ukraine, right? This is where this all comes from, right? So if you remember back, Hunter Biden received a position on the board of Burisma with absolutely zero qualifications and was getting paid a lot of money to be on the board. And the only thing that Hunter Biden had was access to the White House through his dad. A prosecutor, a special prosecutor, a Ukrainian prosecutor named Viktor Shokin, was investigating and was looking at money laundering, was looking at corruption through Burisma and the Hunter Biden ties. When that happened, Joe Biden travels to Ukraine and says, you're not getting money until this prosecutor is gone,
Right.
accusing the prosecutor of being corrupt.
Right.
And Joe Biden admits to it. You've all seen the video clip where he said,
Yeah.
son of a bitch. He was gone.
It was a stump speech for his campaign. Like,
Yes.
as amazing as that is.
Yes. I mean, so out of that, Trump finds all this stuff. The laptop was a gift from the heavens if you're Trump, right? I mean,
Yeah.
as soon as that comes down, Trump's got it all.
Yep. He's got emails from all his emails and
Yeah.
emails from China people.
So now here's the deal, and this is what blows my mind that we haven't got here yet. We know now all of the stuff that went through the laptop's real.
Yep.
Right.
The FBI admitted it to evidence in the court case against him.
So now we know anything else on that laptop, the
100%
emails,
real.
Bob Alinsky saying save 10% for the big guy,
It's
big
real.
guy being Joe Biden. It's real.
Real.
All of this has now been verified to be real.
Accurate.
So going forward, this is a big freaking deal.
Yeah. This now it should escalate all the other things.
It should, but we're going to see again.
won't.
There's already probably censoring going on. I mean,
Yep.
you're already seeing Facebook gear up to censor all the crap coming out of this.
Yep.
It's already been talked about. And this is the game we're playing right now, which is disgusting, which we'll get into in the next go around with the media and all that
Yeah.
crap. But
Yeah. We're gonna do one just on the media, but this like kind of ties into all that.
yeah, it bleeds over. It's like we've been saying in the last few is like when we started this, you never knew that it all connected.
Well, right. Let's just listen to Joe Scarborough talk about.
Ugh,
The
I hate
letter.
that guy.
This is a long clip, but I think it's important because it talks about, I mean, everything, right? Like it's everything that's wrong with the media.
Hit it.
And talk about Facebook having problems and Twitter having problems with a story that even the New York Post knew was a lie. They published a series of lies peddled to them by Rudy Giuliani, who admitted that nobody else would take it but Rupert Murdoch's New York Post, because they might look into it and tell the truth. Here we are in 2020. This is what it's come down to, America. Giuliani is feeding Russian misinformation to Donald Trump, and he's feeding Russian disinformation to the New York Post they know it's a lie.
Yeah, well,
That's where we are in 2020.
The New York Post.
Just to let you know, they're still talking to Russia. And by the way,
It's
Russian
amazing.
hoax,
Just
really, history will expose you all as fools and useful idiots for the Russians. It's for 4 years now. For 4 years now, there has been a line from Russian agents into the campaign.
False.
It's unbelievable how stupid you think Americans are. How stupid you think
Just the media.
Americans are.
How stupid Joe Scarborough is.
Hoax. Seriously? It's, the idiocy, the sheer idiocy. You are revealed right now, but you will be revealed throughout history for basically running cover for Russians.
And you've got this computer repair shop owner in Delaware who is a staunch Trump supporter and who peddles in conspiracy theories, and whose shop is thousands of miles away from where Hunter Biden lives.
Not where he
So
does
you've got
crack,
a lot
though.
of questions
No.
here. This whole thing smells bad, Joe. I don't think there's a lot of credence. That's why the FBI is questioning not the Bidens, but Rudy Giuliani. And I think
Yeah,
the
I'm sure that's
message
why.
here, the lesson here is that if you're going to plan an October surprise, you may want to choose a planner who is not parading around the world with a known Russian secret agent for the last year. Maybe choose a planner.
oh my god. Okay,
Yeah,
so I mean,
yeah.
this is what gets me, right? They're trying to use the credibility and the backbone of the FBI to say that, oh, look, they're going after Giuliani. Well, of course they're going after Giuliani. This was the same FBI that had Peter Strzok exonerate Hillary Clinton on her email scandal, where she had classified information on a server in her fucking bathroom in her private residence that she bleach bitted, that she overwrote and smashed all of her BlackBerry phones so that nobody could find the emails. And then she had the gall to tell the government that had subpoenaed her, yeah, don't worry about it. I deleted the 30,000 emails that are missing, but they're all personal in nature. You don't get to see those. I'm going to keep those for myself. The FBI exonerates her in a letter, right? They draft a letter on a certain date, 3 months in advance of even talking to Hillary Clinton and interviewing her. And when they do interview her, they let her, Uma Abedin, Mills, a whole bunch of people interview all at the same time together in the same room, something that the FBI has never done for anyone else ever in an investigation, right? This is the FBI that we're supposed to believe is doing the Lord's work all of a sudden on this
Yeah.
frickin' Hunter Biden case, right? And
They've seen the light now.
they've seen the light. I
Right.
mean, this is just unbelievable. And then every one of these fucking scumbags in the media, Joe Scarborough knows it. Joe Scarborough knew what was going on.
Yeah, he knew that it was real, right?
Of course
So
he
all
did.
he is just
He's a shill.
Yep. He's just a useful idiot for the DNC.
I'm calling this Operation Shield is what I'm calling
Yeah,
it. This is what
for
it seems
sure.
like. The media is just shielding their propaganda.
Yep.
And you know, like for him, I'm a useful idiot for believing what I saw to be real.
Yeah.
I would like to slap the shit out of that guy. I'd like to
And
slap the shit out of him.
It'd just be so nice for him to be confronted with it live on TV. Like,
my
how do you feel about this now, you fucking idiot?
Useful idiot. Okay, so here we have a situation where we're losing our own constitutional republic, right? We're losing this republic through lawfare, right? They're going after presidents, ex-presidents,
100%.
campaign elections, or campaign interference, election interference, not on Trump's behalf, right? Suppressing information that should have come out, should have been put out in the public, right? Multiple impeachment attempts against a president for just telling another president, hey, you should look at the corruption in this.
Yeah.
Nowhere did he say, I'm going to withhold all this
That
money.
he wanted accountability for the money.
Nowhere did he say, I'm going to withhold the money unless you do what I want. Nowhere. He said, yeah, I'll send Rudy Giuliani over there. He's got all the details of the people you need to investigate. Why would he do that? We do that all the time.
All the time.
It's not like this is a new
This
thing.
is how this shit works.
But they twist it, they turn it, they freaking make it. Oh my God, it's a quid pro quo. They try to impeach him on it. Never, don't forget that the second he was in office, the very first thing they started saying is, we need to impeach him, we need to impeach him, we need to impeach him.
Yeah.
I love it, like.
But
wow.
you said it last time, I think, that they had no idea Trump would be like, all right, play it. And then he
Oh, yeah.
released it. Like
Yeah.
it was with Shift. Like,
Schiff-
this is what it says.
Schiff
And
made
Trump's
up the
like, okay,
conversation.
here you go. Here's the tape.
Right. Schiff made up his own version of what it
Yes.
said, right?
Well,
to
that's
make
how
it
they
sound
do.
like Trump is a freaking, mobster.
Correct.
And then Trump's like, oh, good, they did that. Now I'm
Yeah.
going to release the transcripts.
Yep,
I'll
for
release
sure.
the whole call.
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter because they got their talking points out, and the media didn't care anymore.
Well,
I mean, they work for the DNC.
yeah, of course they do. And
Yeah.
here's the thing. Unfortunately, we have a huge portion of the country right now, 40, 50%, that can't think critically. They just listen to whatever pretty face on the news
Right.
talks in a cadence and can tell them.
Joe doesn't have a pretty face. though.
No, I'd like to slap the shit out of that guy. He pisses me off. And he's married to Mika.
Yep.
They're together. And
Yeah.
Mika's another fucking liar.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they literally on their. It's almost like these
Well,
people.
she'll make an appearance with a quote in the next one.
Good.
Yeah.
We should. We need to light these people up. They need to be held accountable. We'll talk about it in the next one, and I'm going to say it now: is if you have a constitutionally protected, you're a constitutionally protected entity that's a check and balance in this government, like the free press is, you have a fucking duty to everyone. Just like I'm in the military, I have a duty.
Yeah.
Constitutionally protected entity that's spreading lies, knowingly spreading lies and disinformation and censoring shit, there's got to be some kind of justice that's brought to that. You can't have free speech. I love, trust me, I want everybody to have free speech. Say whatever the hell you want. We need the good and we need the bad all to be protected. But there's got to be some kind of libel laws that we put in place for media people to go after somebody when they know it's a fucking lie.
Yeah. There has to be some sort of accountability. That
Has to be.
That you're not just able to just distort whatever you want. And maybe it's not just going after that person, right? Like let's start. I don't know how you would change the law to be able to go after, like, so for the Russian dossier, right? Being able to go after Clinton, right? Like, so Trump should be able to sue Clinton for that, for the libel of that. She created it.
Yeah, but then what do you do?
She paid for it. She then sent it to the FBI and a friendly reporter at the Washington Post so that they could say, look,
Right.
they're reporting on it. It's verified.
But this is the question then. So Hillary Clinton can create whatever she wants and say
Correct.
whatever she wants,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
But it's the media that disseminated it to the masses. It's the media that
Well,
made
they
it.
started it. They
Yeah.
sent it to the media, to a friendly media person.
Sure.
That was going to put whatever they wanted in.
But
so
if-
they're ultimately responsible for it.
Yes.
They've got to be held accountable too.
Oh, the whole way through it has to be held accountable.
Yes, the media has to be held accountable.
But just like
They also do.
But listen, just like Kyle Rittenhouse sued CNN, right? The Covington kid.
Yep.
That kid.
That kid sued all of them.
And they won both major judgments, right? What?
I think they settled, didn't they?
Yeah, they
I don't
settled.
think. Yeah, they had to settle
They
because
settled.
they
I mean,
knew
it was,
they were
it was,
screwed.
It was open and
Yeah.
shut, you know. But at the same time, if that is the case, there's got to be something else. I mean, even if you're a political candidate and they come out and they say all this stuff, and because there wasn't just personal attacks on Rudy Giuliani, personal attacks on Steve Bannon, personal attacks on Donald Trump, personal attacks on Eric Trump, personal attacks
All of them.
on.
Yeah, you could go down everybody that worked for the campaign
Yeah.
that talked about it.
I mean, they all got hit with it. They were all liars. They were all misinformation spreaders. They were all connected. I mean, Scarborough said it. There's a line going all the way back to Moscow, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and hey,
Shut
Ben,
up.
you're going to look like a fool when we find out that laptop's fake.
I'm a useful idiot that's
You
just
are a useful
for
idiot.
the
That
Russians.
was correct.
For the Russians, right?
Yeah.
And
Turns out
Yeah.
it was Hunter's laptop.
turns out, right? Weird. Nobody could see that except for the receipt that Hunter filled out with his own fucking signature on
Yeah,
it. With
yeah.
the pictures that were pulled off the
Well, there's no
laptop.
video, so you can't prove it.
And this is what blows my mind. Like, if you think about what's on that laptop, right? So we heard stories. Everybody heard the stories.
Yeah.
Underage prostitutes,
Yep.
crack,
Yep.
Chinese links, Russian links, Ukrainian links,
Yep.
other money laundering schemes,
Shell companies.
and communications throughout the whole thing.
Correct.
Now we just
And what has he done? What has Hunter done in his life to do all that? To have a legitimate say, like, hey, we've done all
He got
this.
kicked out of the military for doing coke,
Right.
so he was a crackhead even in the military. So yeah, dishonorable discharge.
Oh.
That could qualify him to be
Yeah.
in a shady ass company like
Sure.
Burisma. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I would imagine.
I don't know. I mean, what a piece of work this is going to turn out to be.
Yeah, and just like he was found guilty on all the charges. Shocking, right? Like, it's just so frustrating. Like, Joe Biden has a quote it says, if I weren't running for re-election, he would have gotten a plea deal. Well, they tried to give him a fucking sweetheart plea deal, and the judge was like, wait a second.
Well, did you remember what was wrapped up in that plea?
Yes, it was
If he
like
pled to
immunity
this,
for everything
else, right?
Everything.
And of course they tried that because the FARA thing is connecting.
Yes.
I mean, if you think about the FARA issues, right?
Yeah.
He is being accused in that indictment of being a lobbyist. FARA is the foreign, what is it? Foreign,
I'm trying to think of a
yeah,
foreign agent.
yeah, Foreign Agent something act.
What's the R word?
We're really good at
Yeah,
this.
this is what we're in. Why can't I think of it? Oh my god.
Because we've talked about it about
Yeah,
1,000
yeah,
times.
for sure.
And
Because now we're recording.
now we're recording.
Yeah.
You can't think of it.
If we
Foreign-
just recorded everything.
Foreign Agents Registration Act.
Yes.
You have to
okay.
register.
You register as a foreign
You
agent.
have to register as a foreign agent.
Good. We can edit all that last part out.
Yeah, we probably
Yeah,
should.
yeah. No, I'm not
leave it.
going.
Fuck
Yeah,
that.
fuck
That's
it.
way too much work.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
Yeah, Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah.
So he didn't register as a foreign agent.
Yeah.
Right, and they're calling him a lobbyist. Well, who's he lobbying?
Right.
His
Yeah.
dad's the vice president. So you're
It
lobbying.
wasn't his dude. You can't make that connection. It wasn't his dad.
Right, of course. Right.
He's not on there at all as a registered
So
lobbyist.
of course, in this deal, this plea deal, right? They're like, okay, you cop to this gun plea, you plead this, you're gonna plead guilty to this gun plea, and in the rest of it, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make all the other stuff that ties to Obama and your dad, we're gonna make that go away. You're gonna take one on the chin for this gun deal, and then nothing else that you're a part of, not
Yeah.
any of the stuff with
The
China, not any of the
taxes.
stuff with Russia, not the taxes, not the Burisma shit, none of it. Not the FARA stuff. None of that will be charged because everybody else is going to get brought down with you.
Right. There's a whole lot of people that are going to come down.
The judge caught that. And the judge is like, whoa, 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 whoa. So
Yeah.
he can't be tried for anything else? And they're like, well.
Well,
And
I think they
played
wanted
stupid.
specific.
The prosecution
was it
played
a
stupid.
Female judge?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I
All
do
these
re-
cases, there's so many judges.
Well, it's crazy now. I do remember that the prosecution was like, I don't know if that's in the deal. And the judge was
Yeah.
like, it's your deal.
Yeah.
How do you not know it's in
Yeah,
the deal?
because they didn't do it. The Biden campaign did.
Right. So eventually the judge kicked it out and she said, yeah, we're not doing that. And Hunter Biden was pissed. Everybody was up in arms about it. And it was all like, oh, what? I'm sure that was probably just Russian disinformation too. Russians are probably controlling that judge, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, she's a lawyer for Putin.
Yeah, of course. And so
I don't know whether that's a female though.
I don't know. I don't know who.
Let's
I
just say the judge.
I just say the judge, yeah. But now you look at it, now there's some serious ties that are going to come back to.
Well, now it has to,
Barry.
right?
Barry's-
Because of all those.
Barry's involved.
Yes, Barry. We love it. All those emails are now authentic.
Yeah. I mean,
So I mean, they were before, but
well,
now
sure.
you can't get around not saying they entered it all into evidence.
Yeah, the laptop's already been used, right? The FBI said,
Yep.
yes, this
They've-
is real. This
they
is
entered
legit.
it. The U.S. attorney entered it into as evidence.
This is
a
a
special attorney or special counsel.
big problem for Barry and for
No, it's not.
Joey. And
It's not because nothing's going to happen.
you don't think Barry and the
No.
boys? No, me
No.
either. I have no
faith in it at all. It's not going to happen, and you know it's not going to happen.
Well, I mean,
It's not.
listen.
You want to bet another pizza? You haven't paid me the last one, so we could
I
go
know
double
it.
or nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm
Hold
still
on.
getting nothing.
Hold on. Hear me out.
Yeah, okay, I'm listening.
If
Yeah.
by by the grace of God, by some miracle that Trump wins this election.
Dude, stand by. Oh, sorry, I have to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Did you see the latest poll out of Minnesota?
did.
He's up 4 points.
I did. But
That's crazy.
I don't trust it because there's no way. Listen, in the last election, Trump had more votes than Obama got.
Yeah.
Obama was the most popular president before Trump
Yeah.
that had ever gotten anything. You expect me to believe that Trump beats Obama and then Biden beats Trump by 20 million votes?
Yes, that's what happened.
Not a fucking chance.
Well, that's what happened.
I know, and I'm
I
a
know.
conspiracy theorist for believing that,
I
there's some
know.
shady shit that
Well,
went
now
on
that
there.
they can't. Okay, we're getting off the rails.
All right, anyways, going back to it. If Trump gets in by some miracle,
Yep.
if the shady shit that happened last time doesn't take place this time, and he just, for whatever reason, he gets in, you don't think that he's going to hold them accountable?
No, I don't think so.
Wow.
I don't think so. I think he's going to be more worried about just tearing it down to redo it.
But that is tearing it down.
No, I don't think that's tearing it down because you're going to have to get your people in first. So I think it's going to be more about like, okay, this happened. We know this happened. Let's fucking fix these so
The
this
only-
shit doesn't happen again.
The only thing I think that lets me believe that maybe he will is because he's the type of guy that if you take a swing at me, even if you miss, I'm going to hit you with a fucking hammer.
Sure, but what's the bigger swing?
I
Going
agree.
after
I
him
agree.
or tearing down everything that
dismantling-
you guys have built?
Dismantling the deep state, but he's got 4 years to do it. Really, he's going to have 2 years to do it. So he's
Well-
got to do it all right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, if they take over, he'll have 2 years to do it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it happens. I mean, maybe towards the end of his 4-year term, but first he has to get rid of everyone.
Yeah. That's
They have to go in with Vivek's plan of just, okay, well, yeah, you're right. You can't just get rid of civil servants. Like, you can't just get rid of certain people, but you can if you say, I'm cutting half. And you randomly do it with, he was talking about, you could just, everybody that hasn't, the last digit of your social is even. You're gone. You're gone. Bye. Thanks. Like, that's a start, right? But obviously you're going to come up with a better way to do it. But you can get rid of them. Like they're all saying, well, you can't get rid of them. You can't get rid of them. You can, as long as it's not individually picked.
well, I mean, that
You
depends too.
but you can do that at the top with the presidential appointed people.
If you take and you create not like another government body, but if you convene like a special council and you go and you look at everybody for
Is that
corruption,
like the McCarthy trials? Is that who that was?
I don't know.
I think that was like,
You got to do something
I'll
like
have to
that.
look that
You got to
up.
dig through everybody's work shit. I mean, work emails are work emails. They don't belong to you. So
Correct.
they can go through whatever.
correct. Well, here's the problem is that they're all using their phones and
I know.
their personal emails. So you have to get subpoenas for those.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why you can't fix it.
Oh, that's why you have to tear it down.
I agree. You have to tear it down.
You have to restart everything.
I don't think you can tear it down without putting a face on it first and putting them behind bars.
See, and I think it goes the other way.
I don't think
you get them behind bars without tearing down at least the top level.
Yeah, and I don't think it happens either because they're so entrenched. What's going to end up happening is they'll immediately start impeaching, or they'll try to throw something else out there, right? I mean,
That's why it's
place.
important that you have control of both the House and the Senate.
You have to.
You have to, and hopefully, like, it's a tough ask, but you got to get the 60 seats.
You have to. But
You cannot fix what's going on without the 60 seats in the Senate.
there's so much. I mean, just think about this. You need term limits in the House.
Yeah.
You can't have Maxine
House
Waters,
and the Senate.
Nancy Pelosi. You can't have Mitch McConnell. You can't have.
Mitch McConnell, yeah, isn't he the longest
Yeah.
serving?
I mean, that dude is just like Biden. Mentally, he's there for a day and then he's gone for a day. He's there
It
for
just
a day.
freezes.
So you can't have these people, staying there. And here's the other issue. The longer you stay in Washington, the more beholden to lobbyists you become. And
Look
that's,
at Dianne Feinstein.
yes, that's a giant problem in Washington because our government right now is not functioning for we the people. Our government right now is functioning for themselves.
Of course.
And
You got to get rid of the fucking inside trading too.
yep. So you have to go in there and fix. You could do a lot of damage to this deep state organization. And when people think deep state, I think they believe that when I say deep state or somebody like me says deep state, they think that I believe there's some, group of people in like black cloaks around a
Yeah,
bonfire,
yeah.
like sacrificing a child and drinking their blood. Like that's not what the deep state is. The deep state is a conglomerate of companies and rich people and things like that are making profit off our government.
Correct. There's a bunch of them, right? So you look at like the prison industrial complex.
Absolutely.
Right? You've got the war industrial complex.
Yep.
You got the pharmaceutical complex.
Green energy.
Green energy. All these groups that have just a ton of money.
Power, consolidated power.
Power.
And that's what they're doing. They're using it. They're wielding it, right? And they are, people don't understand this, or they should understand this by now, that they're the ones drafting the legislation and handing it off to their congressman or their senator and saying,
Correct.
this is what I want done.
Correct.
You owe me.
Yep.
If you want to get reelected,
Yep.
you're going to do this. And
That's why nobody knows what's in bills.
nobody knows what's in the bills. You have to pass it to read it,
That's what Nancy said.
right? You have to pass
That's
it to know.
what, hey, I believe her.
And I mean, if you can get rid of the lobbyist, you make a huge stride forward in handling the deep state. You start to gain some sort of accountability back, or integrity at least, of what's in Washington. The second part, like you said, is if you get rid of the insider trading, now you don't have anybody in the military, side of things, or the military industrial complex through the Armed Service Committee getting no bid contracts, right? You don't have people profiting off that.
The no bid contracts blows my mind.
It blows my mind too. I mean, it's disgusting, right? Especially when you have connections to the people and it's your buddies getting the contracts.
Yeah.
And then you have to have the accountability for your government budget. There's no reason. I mean, I can remember it was 2 or 3 years ago we passed a budget and like $40 million is going to the Smithsonian during COVID.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? No.
Yeah.
So you're closing down mom and pop joints all over the place, and then in this budget for this bailout, you're going to give all this stuff to places that donate to you. Like, oh, I'm going to keep taking
the
care of you.
Smithsonian's federal, like it's not going to get shut down anyway.
No.
Right, like they didn't need the PIP money or whatever it was. They didn't need the COVID like save us money.
Yeah.
They were going to be fine anyways because we just fund it.
We need some sort of accountability to come back, some sort of fiscal responsibility. I just saw now that we know they're trying to kill the dollar. We know that they're trying to transition from, physical currency to digital and only digital, which makes sense if you're them and you want, to have your hands in more stuff. You can't hide money then.
They have complete control if it's digital.
Yeah.
They can absolutely stop you from spending money anywhere.
Anywhere, right?
And they can search for everything.
That's it. So you can't hide anything, right? You
There-
can't have cash on hand.
You have zero anonymity.
And the thing that scares me too is China does that already, right? And China has a scoring system, right? A digital or a social credit score.
Yep.
So if you're a good communist, you get access to your banks and your money, and you can shop at these tier 1 stores. If you're a bad communist, you sometimes get access to your money, but you can't shop at these really awesome name brand stores. You got to go down the road.
That's where we're headed.
To the hand-me-down. They're trying to.
That's where we're headed with digital currency.
They're trying to. We gotta all stand up.
If it's government run.
We gotta stand up and take it back, and people don't understand that. I know this is getting off topic, but this is all the same.
Yeah.
It's control.
Like I said, like my one brilliant comment, everything's connected.
And it just drives me insane. All the way from, Hunter laptop story, the Hunter Biden story. This is just it's a symptom. You know what I mean? Like, this story is just a good way to point to everyone and be like, hey man, if you don't understand what's taking place behind this, if you don't see it, if you don't understand what took place in 2020 with this and how they shielded everything and how this affects what's taking place now and all the decisions going forward, you're going to be the reason, like Scarborough said, you're the useful idiot for the Russians. Well, you're not the useful idiot for the Russians, but you will be one of the reasons that leads this country over the edge. Do you really think Nancy Pelosi is some sort of fucking genius, that she has a goddamn clue what she's doing in Washington if she didn't have people behind her propping her up and helping her make her decisions? She doesn't read anything. People read it to her, read it for her.
Right.
So the system's completely broken.
Yeah.
Completely broken. What's that movie where I think it's Gerard Butler where he said he's going to burn the whole thing down?
Is that Law-Abiding Citizen?
I've never seen it.
You haven't seen Law-Abiding Citizen?
I've never seen it. I've just seen that
Something
clip.
happens where spoiler, it's only been out for like 20 years, but something happens to his wife and kid get murdered, and he goes back and he kills like everybody that was involved in the case. Not the dude that killed him.
Is it a good movie?
Oh man.
There's a bunch of movies. There's a bunch of
That's
movies
right up
that I
your
didn't
alley.
even know existed, bro.
Yeah.
From my time when I left.
Oh sure, when you were in the desert.
Yeah.
Playing in the sandbox.
Yes. There's a time where from 2002 to 2010.
Yeah.
That I don't have any knowledge of movies.
Yeah, so that was probably 2009 because I think I saw it when I was in training at FLETC.
Yeah, man, I just saw that clip, but that's literally what you need to do: burn the whole fucking thing down and start over.
He's a think tank guy.
In the movie?
Yeah, he's he worked for the CIA, coming up with things you could do to people to get them to tell the truth.
I'm gonna watch it. I gotta watch
You'll
it.
watch it now.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it for sure. I like him. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's real good. He's good in that movie. That movie scarred me. For real.
I love those.
Yeah. Anyway, getting back on to the Hunter stuff. So, he's guilty, right? Mm-hmm. We've got the White House saying they won't pardon him. They won't say if they won't commute his sentence. And then you've got them saying that they're going to. This is the part that, like, it makes me smile. It makes my heart smile, right? Like, okay, so all this shit with the gun laws, right? That, you know, so the Supreme Court ruling in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, it paved the way to challenge other laws, other gun laws, including those that deny firearms to people that are addicted to drugs. And so Biden called this Supreme Court ruling an affront to common sense and the Constitution. And now his kid's going to use it to try to appeal to say this is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Like, it just,
Well,
the
what a
left
joke.
eating themselves.
But here's the deal too, though, and I'm a big 2A guy.
Of course, me too.
What other right do you lose for being a crackhead?
You don't.
Right? You shouldn't.
Well, unless you get a felony charge and you can't vote.
You shouldn't lose any of those rights.
Of course, I
And
don't. I
here's
agree
my-
with that.
Here's my belief process about being a felon too. You go into prison, you're supposed to pay your debt to society and
Right.
come out reformed.
Correct.
Your constitutional protection or constitutional right of being able to vote shouldn't be taken away if you've paid your debt to your society.
Yeah, agreed.
At that point, it needs to come back.
Agreed.
I think it's bullshit that Hunter, because he said he's not a crackhead, you don't lose your right to express your freedom of religion. You don't lose your right to free speech. You don't lose your right to be secure in your personal effects.
Correct.
You don't lose any other right. You don't lose the right to, plead the fifth, not incriminate yourself. You don't lose any other right except for a firearm. Because I get it, you're a crackhead. You're not making good decisions.
Correct.
But why can you lose one of the fundamental premier rights in the Bill of Rights, in the Constitution?
Yeah, it's a sticky wicket, right? Like, I get you don't want a druggie with a gun.
Yeah.
However,
Shall not be infringed.
correct.
Shall not be infringed.
Correct. And I struggle with that with the domestic violence stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get that I understand the good of that law. And I understand shall not be infringed upon. It's there has to be some sort of a way to
Get it back.
get it back. The red flag laws,
Oof.
there has to be.
I'm not a fan of those.
No, of course not, because it's all subjective.
Well, yeah, you could just call somebody and say that I'm
Correct.
crazy, and then I lose my
Correct.
firearms.
Yes. There has to be some sort of an appeal process that works if you're going to do that. And there isn't because it's going to go down to some guy that's appointed by somebody that is going to take the beliefs that they have.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, for sure. Like, look at all these people that were called conspiracy theorists because this is Russian disinformation. Like,
Boy,
okay, well,
do I feel right now.
yeah. You would, and some of these red flag laws, they could say, listen, he's fucking unhinged. Look at all this shit.
Well, they do.
They do.
That's already
right.
being
That's
done.
what I'm saying.
We're already seeing stories
Yes.
about it. So, I mean, it's happening.
You can't, that's why you can't have that. You can't allow it.
Look at all the people right now that get swatted for being, for people who don't know, it's like being swatted means, take this podcast, for example. If somebody listens to us and they don't like us, they could call the police once they find out where we carry this out, and they say that, oh, there's an active shooter situation there, and then the police show up with a SWAT team, and here we are just filming a podcast. It's happened to Tim Pool. It's happened to others.
Right.
It's those people that will use red flags against you, right? I mean, they're going to lodge a complaint, and then in the law, law enforcement then is like, oh shit, we got to make a decision and go. I mean, there's no due process of it. They just come in and they take it away, and then due process is later. Well, that's not how it works. You're innocent until proven guilty, right? The burden of proof is not on you to prove that you're innocent. The burden of proof is on the government to prove that you're not. So I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like red flag laws. I don't like the subjectiveness of it. I don't like any of that crap. It should never have taken place. That's not the answer to. Here we go. We're getting off topic, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, go.
That's not the answer to what's going on in this country with violence.
Right.
The answer to what's going on in this country with violence is that at some point in time, we removed all morality from. Oh, did you hear that plane?
Yeah, I think it's the FBI.
Probably they're already listening. Great.
Yeah, that's
we're,
right.
We're screwed.
We already are.
The reason why this culture is so violent is you've removed all morality, right?
Right.
I love when people talk about, well, we're the only country in the world where this is happening and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but every other country where there's a mass shooting, they don't call it a mass shooting, they call it terrorism. So
Right.
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
In the Middle East, I don't know, I just saw ISIS go across the Middle East and behead people. That's terrorist. That's terrorism. Mass shootings all the time. That was terrorism. We'll call it terrorism. Here, it's just a sign and it's a symptom of our culture. Why is our culture broken? Well, when our parents were kids, they could go get a freaking machine gun at Sears Roebuck. And they never went to a school. They never went to a movie theater. What's changed? What's changed is you removed God from everything, right? You've made a separation of church and state came in. You removed the freaking divine consequence of you doing something like taking a life. You've removed that. You've made society less moral with making everything hypersexualized, hyper-fueled by drugs. You've propped people up with false idols like Beyonce and Jay-Z and Kanye and all these people that are propped up that are just absolute shit human beings. P. Diddy, just terrible human beings. You've put them up on a pedestal for everybody to follow. Athletes, sports athletes, all these people are put up on a freaking pedestal. All the good programming, the wholesome programming that we had when we were kids that had a good moral message has been taken down. It's replaced by sensationalism, by freaking death and murder and investigation and intrigue. You've made everything in society either hypersexualized, hyperviolent. You've removed morality and you've taken God away from everyone. What the fuck do you think is going to happen in a society that's becoming more and more sensationalized, more and more hyper everything, right? Hypersexual, hyperviolent. What do you think is going to happen? It's not video games alone. It's not just TV alone. It's not just music alone. It's all of it together. It has nothing to do with somebody owning a firearm. That's dangerous. What's dangerous is our political figures have saw fit to just completely destroy the culture of the 30s and 40s ironically, in a twist to try to make society a better, more functioning society.
Right.
They've made it a more violent society.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. It has nothing to do with anything else. How do I know that? Because I've traveled the fucking world and seen societies where they're completely peaceful and they're very, very, very morally grounded and religious. They believe in certain places, either A, as long as I'm waging jihad, I'm going to heaven, I'm going to paradise, I can do whatever I want in the name of jihad, killing the enemies of Allah. Or I am not going to paradise if I do anything that contradicts what I find in my belief system, in the Quran or wherever you believe, whether it's Hinduism, Buddhism, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just different. Here we are violent, and it's starting to go across the world. It's everywhere.
For sure.
I don't know. That's my diatribe there.
Yeah, no, that was good. Honestly, I was hoping, because this isn't the first time you've lectured me on that. But the first time you talked about, and I was hoping you were going down that road. That's why I was just kind of being quiet.
The kids
with getting the guns.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah, do it.
There's a study that came out a while back, which blew my mind. By the time the average male is 18 years old, he has either witnessed 5,000 murders, either physically, actually in real world witnessing it, or on TV, because everything's violent on TV now. He's seen 5,000 people die. And by the time he's 18, he has been a part of almost 10,000 murders. And that's coming through video games, right? So you take this in totality. You have this kid who's being... Let me step back for a minute. When you go into the military, and you're in a combat arms position, you're like an infantry kid or you're a special operations kid, like you don't just start off special operations for the most part. You start off, you have to go through basic training, then you have to go through like infantry school or whatever your school is. Then you sign up and you go through the special forces, like a selection program. Whether it's Rangers, you go through Ranger school. Whether it's special forces, you go through SWIC. After all that, then you can be picked out to go to Delta. That's like the top 1% of all military branches can go to Delta, and you got to again go through a selection process at Delta, right? So starting back at the very basics, like your regular infantry kids, they're running around. They basically teach you to be a killer. That's your job, right? You're going overseas to kill an enemy. Well, during the War on Terror, you would run around and calling cadence all over the place. You know, you're running in formation. You see guys running down the road and they're doing the cadence. The drill sergeant's calling cadence, or your platoon sergeant's calling cadence, whoever. And a lot of the cadence was designed at creating a divide between you and your enemy. We call them Hodge. We call them, you know, you always come up with a name. I mean,
Yeah.
you do it all the time to make them not seem human, right?
We have to.
You have to. The Japs were called Zeeks. The Germans were Jerrys or Krauts. The Vietnamese were Gooks. You always had a name for your enemy to dehumanize them, right? You
right.
always had it. You can go all the way back to slave times, and they did it in slave times by calling black people the N-word. I'm not saying it. I will not say it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that's what they did. You dehumanize them, right? And you can kind of now modern day with this study I'm talking about, you can kind of see it happening today in modern society where you're kind of doing the similar thing just through exposure. You can kind of see how people can take that away or lose a little bit of that through music, through false idols, through video games, through hypersexualized material that they're seeing, free porn sites all over the place. The morality's leaving kids. You can see it through their video games, that the violence that's in them. Mm-hmm. Any one of those alone doesn't do it. You're not going to make a psychopathic serial killer for any one of those alone. But you combine all of that stuff, and then on top of it, you look at like the inner city kids, like in Chicago and stuff like that, and you see what they're like. You can go. Everyone should see these documentaries that they have, so you can see what they think and what they believe. And they call themselves soldiers. They're out there doing their thing, and they don't give a damn, right?
Yeah.
There is no consequence divinely for any of those kids. They don't care. They don't care if they take a life. Now, as a soldier, that's exactly how I felt. I don't care. You're my enemy. I'm going to take your life. Those kids have been programmed by their community, programmed by everything in their culture that they're living in right now to be able to be as violent as they have to be, because it's basically survival, and that's what war is. You're surviving. That's why you have these, you know, you're a Hodge. If you're coming against me, you're a Hodge. And we did that. That's what they called them. By the way, Hodge is not even defamatory as people would think it is. I mean, it just means you went to the Hodge pilgrimage, which to them is a very important thing. And it's unbelievable to see when they're going on the pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I mean,
No, I don't think so.
There is just, it's crazy. You watch people for a week straight just pouring down the road on foot, in bongo trucks, driving flags, you know, like cheering, honking, and they're all on their way to Mecca for the pilgrimage. I mean, it's insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's where it's coming from. And we talked about it last time, where I think that the majority of inner city people also have post-traumatic stress along with the police forces, which leads to a lot of more, you know, violent encounters, because that's what happens.
Correct.
So if you put all that together, you can see where we're starting to fall down.
Yeah.
And then if you have somebody who's got a mental illness while all this is going on, that's even worse. I think that's where your mass shooters come from,
I think so too.
right? I mean, that mental illness is
Look
what
at
sets them over
what
the
we've
edge.
done. We've gotten rid of all the mental institutions, right? We're getting rid of them
Yeah,
because the stigma.
it's impossible.
Right? Like we're not. It's crazy.
Well, and I'm finding out now, we've got some people in our family who have issues, right? And I'm finding out you can't do it. If you're over 18, they have to commit themselves. You can't do anything and get them committed until they break a law.
That's crazy.
Or they become a danger to themselves to the point of where law can get brought in. I mean, you can't proactively help them, just like the red flag laws.
Yeah.
And I agree their freedom is important, but we also have to figure out how to make a balance there.
We have to figure it out. Between the HIPAA laws, the violations because of the personal information not being able to be spread, like that's one of the reasons that hurts. Like how do all these people not communicate about this person? They can't,
Right.
because of the HIPAA laws.
Yep. And I mean, it's a fine line. That's the hard
Right.
part.
HIPAA laws are a great idea. However, there needs to be some sort of a thing in there. Like, I don't know.
It's an imperfect system, and
It will always be imperfect. The problem is
we're not
that
fixing it.
we can't trust anyone either.
Right. Well, again, that comes back to integrity and
Correct.
the moral grounding.
Correct.
And
People will take advantage of it.
well, and people are assholes, right? I
Right.
mean, that's just kind of
For
how
sure.
it is. You get, no matter what, you're gonna hear. It seems like everything gets out. You know what I mean?
Of course.
You can. I'm sure there's doctors that go home and they're like, you wouldn't believe what I had to deal with today, and that HIPAA gets out there, right? You're not naming names probably, but you're probably saying all these things.
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens in our profession. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So
of course.
to say that it's not going to happen in terms of why HIPAA exists in the first place. I mean, there's got to be penalties for people who are just running their mouths.
Of course.
I mean, HIPAA has to exist for like a.
Yep. I'm not saying get rid of HIPAA. I'm saying that there has to be some sort of a guideline.
It's a
for
slippery
people.
slope, but I mean, I get it.
understand,
I get it,
but
man.
you have to have something.
I agree. It's a slippery slope, and I don't know who's the first person that's got the balls to tackle it, because
Well, the problem is, like I said, so who sets it up, right? So somebody that gets appointed by somebody, and then that person gets appointed by the next administration, and so it's just geared every time. It's geared to whatever. I mean, look at the NIH, right? Like they weren't supposed to be
Don't
political
get
at
me
all,
started.
but we need to, right? Like you can't even trust those people.
well,
They have 710 million reasons to do what they did.
yeah, and
They got paid.
They got paid, big time paid. The thing that I when James Comey was in underneath Obama, and this is what pisses me off, right? Comey's a Republican, or claims to be a Republican. He's
Claims
not,
to be like
he's
Joe
not.
Scarborough did.
Yes, he's not a Republican. For the majority of these people working in Washington, there is no Republican or Democrat.
Oh, it's a uniparty.
It's a uniparty, and what
Whoever pays you the most.
whoever pays is who you're voting for. And it's funny because the joke forever has been, oh, politician, right? They say things on their campaign trail. They never do anything when they're in Washington. The only politician, well, there's two. The only two politicians I've ever seen actually do stuff from their campaign trail was Obama and Trump. And
Yeah.
Obama went after universal health care, right?
Right.
And Trump went after everything else that he couldn't stand, the trade agreements and
Yeah. He said that.
tax and everything else.
He
I mean,
did
Trump at
everything
this
he
point-
said he was going to.
Trump at this point is talking about if he gets elected, he's going to get rid of the income tax and go back to tariffs.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
It's yeah. I mean, we used to be debt free when we did that.
Well, that's how we were debt free.
Correct.
It made
I worked
everything
for the
else-
agency that took in all the money.
Made everything else expensive, right? It's going to
Right.
But you keep more of your money.
You keep more of your money.
Right.
And that just goes to if you are making more money and you're buying more things, you're paying more. Mm-hmm. Your toys and all that, then guess what? Those are going to be more expensive.
Well, yeah, there's just more money
That-
to go around.
That's who's going to be paying for it.
Yeah, I mean,
You pay for what you consume.
you should.
Absolutely.
I know I'm pretty freaking sick of half my paycheck going to the government.
Yeah, especially when you get that mandatory forced overtime. Mm-hmm. Oh, great. My check's lighter than it would have been before I got that overtime shift.
Yeah. This whole, like we talk about it, you got to burn it down. I mean, Comey's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He's just a power player. And
Right.
he's just a piece that's put in place to help control, to help benefit whoever at the time. And his boss is whoever's in power, feeding him power, right? If Trump would have came in and Trump would have been a swampy, creature, just like Obama was, just like Biden is, just like George Bush was. If he would have been in part of that, established crew with the swamp, Comey would have stayed and been just fine. Trump wouldn't have been.
Right.
Trump wouldn't have been, called a Russian asset or a Russian agent, whatever.
Yeah.
It's the people outside of the swamp that are the ones that are, never picked on, never labeled.
Well, they're targeted, right? Like we talked about with Hawthorne.
Yeah, Madison Cawthorn.
Cawthorne.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Madison Cawthorn.
Cawthorne.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
like
exactly it.
they couldn't get him, so that what did they do?
They slander you. I mean,
Yeah,
they
for sure.
And there's a video. There's a really good video of this. Nancy Pelosi admits what they do in Washington. It's called a wrap up smear or something like that, where she talks about they just take out a hit piece. They make accusations about you, and then they leak it to the press, and then the press reports on it, and there it is. You're wrapped up in it now. And that's what they do to each other.
Well, and I shouldn't even bring this up, but did you see the update about the Matt Gaetz thing?
Mm-mm.
I didn't either. All right, never mind. I
But
was just
what?
curious, but there was some. Remember how he was under investigation for all
Oh,
this
yeah.
shit,
Yep.
and nothing came out of it. Like, and he's claimed from the get go, like
It
this
was
is
a smear
bullshit. Yeah,
campaign.
it's a smear campaign.
Yep.
And look at their playbook. Look at the playbook.
Yep.
They
Brett
leak it to a
Kavanaugh.
friendly. They leak it to a friendly reporter,
Mm-hmm.
and they send it to the FBI at the same time. And the FBI says, "Well, there must be something here because they're reporting on it."
Right.
And it's the same fucking report that came from the same person.
Yep. Yeah, I do remember when Matt Gaetz went through that. It went through the ethics committee.
There was just some update.
Oh, I'm sure there was updates months ago too, where they found nothing going on with it. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's been one of the most vocal critics of the Biden administration. That all of a sudden now there's a new update about it, right?
Right, that's what I was trying to get
Somebody
at.
also come forward. It's just like that Christine Blasey Ford or whatever her name was, right? Linked to the CIA. She comes out and says Brett Kavanaugh raped her at a party years ago. She couldn't remember where the party was and couldn't remember anybody else that was there. The one person she said was there denied that it ever happened or that she had any knowledge of it. And Brett Kavanaugh's got a shining record. And all that is left, right, until decades later, until he becomes a Supreme Court justice. And then all of a sudden you get rolled out and this story gets brought out and all this crap. Same thing with like E. Jean Carroll, the lady who, said Trump assaulted her in a dressing room, right? He wanted her to try on some lingerie or something that he was going to buy for somebody, and he supposedly raped her. And then she's on it was like some news broadcast saying that she found it very sexy, that rape is very sexy. And everybody's like, what are you? We're going to believe these nut jobs?
Yeah.
Like, these people are the ones that you're going to put all this faith in? And like, come on, man. You can't, if you can't see through that, like, even like, I don't know if you know who Trevor Bauer is.
Yes. Yeah.
So
The pitcher.
The pitcher, right?
Yeah,
So Trevor
yeah.
Bauer was.
That's a crazy story.
Yeah, it is, man. Trevor Bauer was a pitcher. He pitched in the major leagues, Major League Baseball, and he was a Cy Young winner. I mean, he was a damn good. He still is a damn good pitcher. He's playing in Mexico now this year, I think.
Yeah, I know he's been playing other places.
He got accused by some girl of rape, and she. The background of this story is absolutely. He maintained his innocence from the beginning.
Yep.
Everybody who knew him said there's no frickin' way this guy did this. Everybody who really knew him. But of course, it was like the Me Too era, right? Mm-hmm. So he's guilty automatically, right?
They suspended him for a year, right?
Indefinitely. He
Indefinitely.
appealed it. And I think he played last year. He played in Japan. This year, I think he's playing in Mexico. He's got another year before he can go back to the major leagues. So he's just keeping himself in game shape. But this girl was in bed with him. She took a selfie after she had been beaten the night before, is what she says. She took a selfie and, like, she has no marks on her face, nothing. Not at all, right? He's asleep next to her in bed with a mask on. He's got to sleep and cover his eyes because he's kind of like I am, where he's like hypersensitive, can't have light and all that kind of stuff. So he's sleeping with a mask next to her. Has no idea that
She's
this girl's
taking the
doing this.
photo.
Lo and behold, through the subpoena process, he finds emails, or his lawyers find emails of
Text
her.
messages.
Yep, text messages. That's right. Of her saying, "Next victim, Trevor Bauer," right, and playing the game.
Yeah.
the whole thing turns out to be complete bullshit.
It's completely made up.
Completely made up.
Completely premeditated.
But here you have this guy, you just destroyed 2 years of his livelihood. I mean, you've got him kicked out of the major. He was a fucking Cy Young winner.
Yeah, he was really good.
And I get it. Like, people look at him like he was the bad boy of baseball. He plays with a lot of emotion.
He's an asshole.
He's yeah, but you know what?
It's okay to be an asshole. I'm an asshole.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, 95% of professional athletes are assholes.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
He's no different than a lot of the other guys in the league. He just got a bad rap, and they all jumped on him because of this bullshit.
Yeah, because they don't like him.
Yeah. Well, he's good.
Yeah.
You don't
well,
like
that's
people that-
part of the other problem.
Right.
He's good and he's a prick to you sometimes because he doesn't like you and he doesn't have to.
Right. And I don't know. I've seen him now on some YouTube channel. He's got his own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I've seen him, and he seems pretty changed, down to earth because of the whole situation. I think
Sure.
he's realized, like, if you're up there, there's people that are going to try to knock you down and take you off.
Yeah.
But those situations, like, that's the playbook now.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's fine.
Fine. Nothing happens. I mean, she's getting charged with shit now.
Well, yeah. Now she's getting charged with shit.
There was a second girl that tried to come forward against this kid too, and she's getting charged with shit too, or she was just found to be, lying as well. It's just unbelievable. I mean, that's the play here. They'll come out and they'll, the same shit that Trump's going through right now. Stormy Daniels, all this crap. Oh, he paid her off. No, he didn't break any goddamn laws. You still can't tell us what the law he actually broke was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, but they're never. That wasn't the point of that.
No.
Right.
No,
Like
it's-
they know that that's gonna get overturned. They know that it's. I mean, I hate to even bring it up, but the Harvey Weinstein thing, like they know that it's gonna get overturned because of what they just said, that all that information that she bled out that had nothing to do with it. Even the judge was like, "This doesn't have anything to do with this," and that's why his rape conviction was thrown out, because they added all this other shit to make him look worse.
Well, he got Me Too'd as well.
And
he's a piece of shit
He
and
deserved
deserves
it. He deserved it.
Yeah.
He earned it.
Yep.
What I'm saying is they included all this other information, not
That's what
about
they
the
do.
case, to make it worse, to make it seem worse in the jury's eyes, and that's why it's getting thrown out.
But
and
I think-
so that's one of the things. The other thing is, it's not a fucking crime. The fucking FEC even said, like, there's
Oh,
nothing
we're talking
wrong.
about Trump, right?
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Weinstein. Yeah. I'm like, whoa.
No, I was talking about the different appeals processes
No,
that
yeah,
they could approach for
I
Trump.
follow you now, but for
Yeah.
a minute there, I was
No.
like, Weinstein? That
No,
was
Weinstein,
kind of a crime, bro.
Weinstein
Like,
deserves a
yeah.
bullet.
Yeah, Weinstein was. When I say he got Me Too'd, what I mean by that is he fell into that movement, and he deserved it. I mean, what he was doing was really garbage.
Oh, 100%.
So he absolutely deserved what he got out of that. But you can't. I mean, there's a lot of. For every, one or two that are legit and bad, there's 3 or 4 that are getting lumped in because it's just a payday.
Yeah,
That's the problem with our legal system.
right. The Me Too movement was good for the people that were there doing it forever, but it also warped into this. We can just do it to whoever we want, that
Right.
Whoever pisses us off or whatever.
It can't be wielded as a
Which
weapon.
it's horrible because it discredits everyone else.
Well, right off the bat, when in that Me Too movement where it was, you have to believe the victim.
Yeah, you knew that. Right away you knew that was going to go bad.
Well, you knew that it was going to be used as a weapon. You
Yeah.
have to believe her story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great. I understand that we're all emotional and that anybody who's raped a girl is a giant piece of trash. However, we're still innocent until proven guilty.
Mm-hmm.
We have a justice system. Now you're telling me that I have to throw all that away and just make this guy prove his innocence?
Yeah, was it the Duke lacrosse team with the Rolling Stones
Yes.
article that was
Yep.
all fake too?
Yep. And there's plenty of it. There's plenty of it.
Yeah,
that comes
there's-
out. But there's also stories that have come out that are real like
Right,
that.
100%.
So I don't know.
It's tough because there are people that are just garbage people that are going to take advantage, and the people that deserve to be outed and the people that deserve to be heard, it's harder now for them
Right.
because you have these garbage people that want their moment
It waters everything
or
down.
their money or whatever they're doing
It's
it
money.
for.
It's
Yeah.
just like
Well, I
everything
mean,
else.
sometimes
Political
I
power,
think
political gain.
honestly, I think sometimes it's just for popularity.
15 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
A book deal.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Where are we at?
I don't know where we are.
We went off the rails.
We always do.
I know.
It just, I mean, it's so frustrating to try to deal with all. I mean, we have a bunch more clips about the Hunter stuff, but I don't think we need them. We've got clips about Biden's talking about the 51, the dirty 51,
Yeah.
and during the debate that he's like, oh, look at the 51 intelligence officials said it's Russian disinformation.
God,
This isn't coming from me. No, it literally came from your campaign.
But-
We've got one of Blinken saying, I didn't start that to an interview.
Yeah.
When he literally, the guy that started it literally testified that, well,
Yeah.
I did because Blinken asked me to.
Right. We,
I mean, we have all sorts of stuff of them just lying. But
balls.
what point? What
the
point?
balls on Joe Biden to go into a debate knowing that all of it's real.
Yeah, knowing that your campaign set it up.
Yeah. What a scumbag.
Yeah. But that's a politician.
Yeah. Well,
Most
I
politicians.
was just going to say it's not all politicians, but it's definitely, as we'll find out when we talk about trafficking and things like that in the future, we have politicians that are running cover for shit like that too, or loosely associated with it and still allowing things like that to happen. But a lot of these political people are absolutely fucking scumbags who will do anything for money. They don't care about the people.
That's what it comes down to, money.
They don't care about we the people. We're not in charge anymore. And this is the problem with our governance. When they're beholden to us, right? They are supposed to do what we want. Now we're being told to do because it's what they want. That's a giant problem. And
Yeah.
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Eventually, if the power doesn't come back to the people revolt. It's happened. It happens all the time. You've seen it numerous times in the last, 20 years. So I'm not saying that that's going to happen here, but it will. You keep going the route we're going, and you keep trying to take from people, it will happen. There's going to be a time where they push back finally when things get bad enough.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're there yet, but I hate to think we will be there.
So I just want to clean something up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The Matt Gaetz thing.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's interesting and it kind of fits with what we're doing now and probably the next one we're doing. But so the update that I talked about, I looked it up. There are new allegations, right?
Of course there are.
Of
yeah.
course, yeah, you called it. You knew it. That he engaged in sexual misconduct and illegal drug use, accepted improper gifts, and sought to obstruct government investigations of his conduct. So, going halfway down through that story, it also says, but they also closed the other 4 because they were unfounded. So, like, that's just exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah,
They just fucking, it's the same playbook.
You see this in their headlines.
and over.
They have a big, bold headline, right? The first 3 paragraphs are all about how Matt Gaetz is terrible. And then in paragraph 4, the very last paragraph, they're like, but all these were investigated before.
The other 4 allegations were probed and there's
found
nothing
nothing.
there. They closed them.
This is what they
Quietly closed them.
do. This is the media. And again, same playbook, like you said. They
Yeah,
just use
it's
it.
just repeat.
It's Operation Shield. Anybody who's opposing the administration that's in power, anybody who's opposing the power structure that is Washington, right? The establishment, which is what Washington is. It's a bunch of people who over the years have been established. They have power. It's your Pelosi's, your Schiffs, your Schumers, your McConnells, your Lindsey Grahams, your, Maxine Waters. It's all these people who are in there that have this power. The longer you're there, the more corrupt you are. That's
100%.
just how it's gone. And if you are speaking to them and you are calling them out, I mean, if you look at Matt Gaetz, that guy is a rock star in hearings. He is chewing people up and spitting them out and making them look like absolute fools.
Yeah, you
That's what he does.
every hearing, there's a clip of him just absolutely tearing somebody apart.
That's what he does. He's done playing the game, right? So if you've made yourself, and he has absolutely
He's a target.
solidly
He's
made
a
himself
target.
a target and
For
an enemy,
sure.
you're going to have this happen
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yep.
And they'll never get to the bottom of who
But that's why I wanted to bring that up to like just show like,
yeah.
yes, there's 3 new allegations, but the other 4 were closed, and it just briefly mentions that in a sentence,
Of course it does.
right? Doesn't talk. The headline's not, oh, they found no evidence.
I love this too, right? So they found no evidence in the other 4. This guy's gone out there and he's just been on a holy tear against the Biden administration.
Yeah,
You think this guy's fucking stupid enough to be doing that after he's already had
shit.
4 and still be out there on a holy
Well,
tear?
I thought the first 4 were about the same thing
They
anyway.
are. They were. Of
Now
course
it's
they were.
just different. Now it's an allegation of trying to stop the investigation, looking into the fake allegations. Like, come on,
Yeah. This is what they do.
this is how dumb they think we are.
Well, they do. And, well, let's be honest.
Some of us are.
Yes.
Well,
a lot of, I mean, look
Some
at,
of us are just so disenfranchised that we don't bother looking into it.
I don't know if it's disenfranchised. I think people are busy in their daily lives. They come home.
Yeah, that's part of it.
And if you're a Democrat, you have your news stations you go to. If you're a Republican, you have your stations you go to. You turn them on, you get a quick story given to you by a person who's really, they're not telling you facts. They're talking about opinion most of the time. Right?
Yeah.
So they're giving you their opinion and they're helping you formulate yours. And we'll see in the next one we talk about the media.
Yeah.
what-
That's
the
a good one. I can't wait.
The Mika Brzezinski clip.
All of it. Sinclair.
Yeah.
All of it.
And they're trying to tell you what to do, what to feel, what to believe. And that's the Operation Shield, man. They're shielding the swamp, they're shielding the establishment, they're shielding the deep state. Why? Money. That's it. Bottom line, money.
Well, and just to touch on what you said there, like people just listen to that. I think what I meant by disenfranchised, like they know politicians are corrupt. So they hear that headline like, oh, there's 3 new allegations against this guy. Like, of course there are. And then that's it. They don't actually look into it,
It's
right? Because they just know that that's what it is.
well.
And then that's it. That's all they need. They just need that headline.
Did you ever hear of Saul Alinsky? His book Rules for Radicals.
No.
So Saul Alinsky is he was kind of like I don't know what he'd describe him, like a kind of a chaos agent, college professor, kind of like a academic
Sure.
mind of the day.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton was big into Saul Alinsky.
Oh, of course.
I think she worked for him for a little while.
Oh, really?
And one of the things he did was kind of coined this whole operation back in the Vietnam era was you don't have to tell the truth about somebody. You just have to continue to perpetuate the lie. Eventually people are going to believe it.
Yeah.
So at one point in time, a bunch of his students had come to him and said, hey, we're going to go protest this event of KKK stuff. And he said, why would you do that? He said, why wouldn't you just dress up like them and make them look bad? And that's what they did. They dressed in
Jesus Christ.
robes and cloaks and went and they did stuff and made it look over the top bad. And they made the KKK. Now, the KKK is a bunch of piece of shits anyway.
Yeah.
I would never associate with that. But that's what I'm talking about, that kind of thing. Now,
Yeah.
you look at a lot of the stuff that happens, like even January 6th, we knew that there was a bunch of Antifa protesters there that were pretending to be Trump supporters that we
Right.
knew were Antifa because they were well-known Antifa.
Yeah.
And they were doing stuff, carrying out acts and stuff just to make it look like Trump supporters are fucking
Right.
stupid.
Right.
So, I mean, that Rules for Radicals, that playbook, I have it in the locker at work. I'll let you read it if you ever want to read it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'll read it.
Yeah, same playbook, different play, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been going on forever.
Right on.
Well, I think we've about hit this one.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Hunter, but that's good.
We got off the rails.
Yeah. Well, we always sorry. We always do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not much to say. Like, obviously, he fucking met his drug dealer behind the fucking store that he dumped the gun at to get, like, they like, whatever. Like, this was the easiest case.
Bro, I'll tell
The
you.
next one, the tax one, I haven't even looked at it because, of course, he's already paid it back. So he's basically admitted he didn't pay it. So I don't know what the hell that's about.
There is some, boy.
It's just going to be what comes out of that one, right? Because it's going to start piling up. But again, I don't think anything
You're
ever
gonna see-
happens.
you're going to see a media
Listen,
blackout.
Joe's a well-meaning old man. He just
Mm-hmm.
can't remember anything, so we're not going to charge him.
and this is the conspiracy mindset I have. I shouldn't say conspiracy mindset. I'm trying to put myself in Joe
well,
Biden's shoes right now. Like, what do you do? And I'm not even in Joe Biden's shoes because Joe Biden's an empty vessel.
No,
He's
you got to be in what's her
whoever's
name?
above him.
What's his wife's name?
Jill.
Jill. You got to be in her shoes.
But I don't even think it's Jill. Like,
I don't know.
somebody's
It's
pulling.
Barack.
Barack, right?
He's still in D.C.
Somebody's pulling the strings. So you can't let Hunter Biden go into this hearing and be linked to you. You
I don't
can't.
know.
Does Hunter Biden's going to Epstein himself. Hunter Biden's going to get put in jail and Epstein himself.
You think so?
I do.
Do you?
I 100% do. I think he's going to go into jail.
You know what I think it is? I don't think it's going to be like a hanging or anything like that. I think it's going to be like something
Drugs.
cardiac, and they're going to blame it on years of drug use, but they'll just give him a heart attack.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, something like
That's
that.
the easiest one to
And then
fucking
Joe's
play
going to be
off.
this destroyed.
Yeah.
And then he'll bow out of the election. And
For
then-
sure. Yeah,
He's gonna
he's going to
blame
get
Trump.
suicided by Clinton's suicide guy.
Yeah. I honestly, that's the only way this works for Obama and for Biden and for all of those people in the power
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
Because Hunter's selfish enough, and he's not going down for anybody.
He's dumb.
He's dumb.
He's not Bo.
So he's, that's cold.
Well,
It's true.
I didn't mean it because he was dead.
True.
I meant Bo was the
No,
smart one.
he was true. Bo was a good guy. Well, in terms of
We don't know
what I
how-
know about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't see Hunter. Hunter's going to Epstein himself. That's my conspiracy mindset. So take that one for what it is. But hey, you
Well,
heard it
I
here
think we
first.
see it. I think we see it coming.
If Hunter Biden ends up having some kind of medical issue, where
Dude,
he
they're coming
passes
after
away,
us. They're gonna be like, "You guys did it." I'm like, "Why?" He gives us lots to talk about.
We called it.
Yeah,
We called it.
We called it.
All right, man. Well, I think we can wrap this one up.
Yeah, we can wrap it up.
Well, again, we went off the rails, but thanks for hanging with us. You can tell we're getting more and more pissed off the more we do these.
Yeah, well, I think it's just because of how much we're finding.
Yeah,
Right, like
never
we
stops.
spend all of our breaks looking for shit on our phone, like all of our time off.
Well, yeah, we come up with a topic that we want to talk
yeah,
about.
and then we just send each other. I can't tell you how many YouTube clips
dozens
or
and hundreds of text messages. And, Did you see this? Did you
yeah,
see this?
tweets,
Yeah. So
X's. What do you call them? What are they're not tweets anymore, are they? What do you call them? X's.
yeah, let's
I
call
don't
them
know.
X's.
I kind of like X's.
I'm sending you some X's.
Yeah, I'm sending
Yeah.
you an X.
Yeah, I like that. We're coining that.
Yeah. So anyway, you can check us out on our website, our social media pages. We're on X, Blue Collar Takes.
Send us some X's.
Yeah, send us some X's. Hey, listen, I did notice that listening back to a couple of them, we got to do a cleanup show.
Oh, you
'Cause
talked about this, yeah.
we
You always say you want to go back to it.
Math is hard. Math's hard on some things. Like I know we screw up on some things. We don't want to be fake news. So if you find something that like, hey, we screwed up on, tell us.
Yeah.
We'll clean it up because we don't want to be sending out anything that's not true.
For sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that does it for this one.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.